Today we're going to go through 10 things to take your brand to $10 million. Some of these are absolute non-negotiables that if you're not currently doing them, you probably should. We're going to go through some of my failures. We're going to go through people you need to hire, tools you need to install, reporting that you need in place to make sure that you have the best chance of succeeding. The first step is know what stage of business you're in so you know your priorities. One of my favorite books is Ready, Fire, Aim. He goes and talks about how businesses can go from 0 to 1 million, 1 million to 10 million, 10 million to 100 million. I've slightly adapted these stages for e-commerce. I like to think that 0 to 1 million, basically all you're trying to do is find one product and one marketing channel. The main challenge is you're really just trying to find your first profitable customers. In this stage, you might just be learning your skills. That is your main priority. And to be honest, 0 to 1 million annualized revenue is not that difficult. And I'm not saying that to demean people out there that are trying, that haven't achieved that. I hope that seems that it's very inspiring, because the truth is when you have the right product and the right marketing channel, you will be able to scale your business incredibly quickly. If you're not getting to that point and that 1 million in sales with profitable customers, you need to go back to the drawing board, refine your product skills and refine your marketing skills. Stage 2, I like to think is 1 million to 5 million. In this stage, you're trying to optimize the flywheel that you put in place to get your first $1 million, which if it is, let's say Facebook and it's a singular product, you're trying to optimize those two things. It might be a creative feedback loop where you're improving your Facebook creatives, or you're reducing your cost of goods and improving your product quality. In this stage, you also might be focusing on hiring people as well, like contractors or agencies, to really take things away from your plate so that you can scale your business. In stage 2, you might also be juggling cash flow as well. We just did an episode on cash flow and how to manage that. That is another one of your main focuses. In stage 3, your focus really is around people and process. You are trying to optimize everything that we just kind of said. You're trying to hire more people that get a return on investment and scale your brand to where it wants to be. You've also got other options as well around channel diversification and also product and market diversification. Can you launch your business into other regions? You don't want to wait too late for that because the opportunity might go away due to competitors entering the space. Number 2 is have a deep understanding of your metrics. You might think you know your profit and that kind of stuff, but the truth is there may be costs that are hidden or you're just not calculating them properly. When I started a brand, we scaled it so quickly, doing $1 million sales in a month. The truth is we failed to understand our true gross profit, and we really forgot to even incorporate things like sales taxes, which is incredibly important. Most regions will have sales taxes, which, if you're using GST in Australia or VAT, it's a very, very similar system, just different amounts. That is going to be pretty much 10% of your top line revenue that you need to account for in your profit, in your bottom line. Other regions, depending if they have free trade agreements from places like China to Australia, they have a free trade agreement. So there's no duties coming from that. But going to the UK, you may have duties upon import. This is money that you're not going to get back. Make sure you have all of those metrics really nice and tidy. This is where I highly, highly recommend getting a tool like Whale. So you have all of your metrics really, really nice and clean so you can track them completely. Whale is releasing so many new features, and honestly, their main goal is just helping entrepreneurs, e-commerce entrepreneurs like me and like you. You guys know that I don't promote any products unless I use them myself, and we use these for any brand that's doing under $5 million revenue because their dashboard is so clear and they have so many other solutions. Over the next 8 points, I'm going to be talking a lot about certain metrics and reports that we use to track our success. Honestly, Whale has 95% of these. I've used lots of other alternatives out there like BeProfit in the early stages, but the rate of product development with these guys is really, really good. I'll leave a link in the description with a discount code. Make sure you go check it out and just ask me any questions if you have them. So the third thing that's going to take you to $10 million is managing your MER, which again can be tracked in Whale. MER stands for Marketing Efficiency Ratio. It's basically your revenue divided by your advertising costs. It's a great metric to understand your advertising efficiency. Because tracking in Facebook has become so bad, it's really important that this MER becomes your North Star to make sure that all of your advertising channels, if you've got, if you are in stage 2 or 3 that I mentioned before, are still profitable for you. For one of our brands, we definitely weren't measuring MER appropriately. We were running each individual traffic source, such as Pinterest and Snapchat and Facebook. Each of them had an amazing in-platform ROAS or customer acquisition cost, and it should have been profitable. In the end, our MER just started blowing out despite what these platforms were telling us. That gave us the signal to really pull these channels back. We implemented post-purchase surveys like, where did you see us? And the truth is, Snapchat and Pinterest were really over-reporting. By using an MER metric, you can basically look at your store and say, okay, I've made $100,000 this month, and my MER is 25%. So that means I spent $25,000 on marketing. You can then subtract your gross margin and basically be very comfortable that you are making a net profit. Compare this to the alternative situation where you're like looking at the platforms in Snapchat and you're saying, okay, I'm profitable on this channel, I can spend a little bit more. Profitable on Pinterest, I can spend a little bit more. Profitable on Facebook, I can spend a little bit more. If you aren't hyper focused on this metric, the truth is you could just be unprofitable for that month, because once you subtract your gross margin, your fixed costs, and your MER, you might be in the red. MER is a variable cost and it's really based on your advertising efficiency, so watch it like a hawk. It's especially useful if you've got multiple media buyers working on multiple different channels that maybe aren't communicating. You should be getting all your media buyers to be looking at Triple Whale every single day on a 1-day period, 7-day period, 14-day period to make sure that nobody is really blowing out that MER budget and they're working accordingly. Then you can set soft rise targets for these platforms and tinker around and find the best level for you. The truth is, Facebook being the most efficient channel out there to really drive demand is going to be your main lever to really monitor and manage this MER and making sure that it's under that threshold. If you want to learn more about MER and get really, really detailed in the subject, you can even look at AMER, which is basically acquiring new customer and the marketing efficiency ratio around that. Definitely go check out the common thread link down below. These guys are absolute guns at explaining this stuff, and you can get really, really granular in it. The fourth point is optimize your gross margin. Now, this is really, really important for the people from stage 2 and above. You can create gross margin in Triple Whale very, very easily. Just click the little gear icon and create a custom metric. Gross margin is determined as sales minus your cost of goods. Typically, it's communicated in a percentage as well. So to do that, you just basically do revenue minus COGS divided by revenue as a percentage. You can do that all in Triple Whale. When we set up products in Shopify, we include things like couriers, freight inbound, duties, all of that stuff, because then all of your dashboards are going to give you absolute real-time data on how profitable you are. By measuring your gross margin on a daily basis, you can see things like coupon discount code leaks, because if something leaks that you didn't think, like a 80% discount or 100% discount that you set up in your back end, you're going to be able to catch that very, very quickly from your gross margin. It's going to drop very fast. To optimize your gross margin, you can negotiate with your suppliers to get your product cost down. You can negotiate with your freight forwarders. Once you get more buying power, go back to them and say, this is how many containers we're going to do over the next 3 months or something like that. As you grow, they should be dropping their prices. Always go into a negotiation with the willingness to walk away and use another service. Get their quote first and then show the other person and use that as your negotiation. One caveat to that is when you're setting up things like bundles, your average order value might increase, but your gross margin decreases. But the total gross dollar amount will also increase. So you really just need to be mindful around what is the most profitable thing for your business. We'll get into AOV and conversion rate in just a little bit. So the fifth thing that you need to start doing as a successful e-commerce business is forecast. And we're gonna cover 3 main forecasts that you need to do. The first 2 is inventory forecast and revenue forecast. I'm gonna talk about them together because they go really, really well. The hardest product to sell is the product that you don't have. If you are out of inventory, that is just going to stop you dead in your tracks. This is something that we didn't do properly with Oodie early, and we were sold out, losing possibly $50 to $100 million in revenue over our lifespan. If you're in stage 1, possibly even earlier, once you get your first profitable sales, you're going to want to start an inventory forecast. What you do is you go to your Shopify sales and you look at what you've sold. Consider things like your MER and your opportunity to grow. Have you got great creatives yet? No. What happens when you do have great creative? These are the things that will then allow you to extrapolate those sales out and really understand how much of that product you're going to need each month. Do it monthly. You then need to consider things like seasonality curves. In e-commerce, you've got those huge sales periods in the middle of the year, and you've also got Black Friday at the end of the year, which is incredibly important to increase your inventory levels. If you're a seasonal business like Oodie, you're going to sell more in winter, and you need to really understand that. When you're an early stage business, it's hard to understand that seasonality curve. If you're a long-standing business, you can use historical sales, but this is going to require intuition. Remember, don't take on too much risk. It's okay to cap growth because you might run out of cash flow, which we'll get into in just a second. Once you have this inventory forecast, you're going to be able to roll that up by simply timesing the amount of inventory that you think you can sell by the average sale price, and you're going to get your revenue forecast. This is going to be important to really forecast how much you can invest in product, people, all of those kind of things. If you're in stage 3 and you're getting up to around 5 million to 10 million to 50 million, you're going to want to start setting up teams around this process. This could be as simple as a merchandise planner that really understands the ins and outs of your business. It could also be a demand planner. But the truth is, if you don't have lots and lots of SKUs, you as the founder coordinating with your marketing and operations team might be able to come up with the most accurate forecast. One of the main things that you need to coordinate with your operations or your product team is lead times. They are an absolute killer. You need to buffer in problems. My first order of calming blankets, I was selling on pre-sale and I was saying that the arrival time was like 12th of April, but I didn't understand that there could be problems such as a border hold where the Australian government holds your first shipment to inspect it. This took about 2 months and it was incredibly stressful. I was emailing all my first customers in my first e-commerce journey saying why their product was so late. The other thing that you don't want to do is miss those Black Friday periods. Make sure your product has a little bit of a buffer so it is landing in early October, possibly even earlier. The third forecast that you need to make sure that you've got set up is a cash forecast. If you don't have money in the bank, how are you going to pay suppliers? How are you going to buy your ads? Now, accountants, they really don't like making cash forecasts, which is understandable because they do take a lot of time. You need to really understand the ins and outs of your business. This is where you, as the founder, need to really document those major expenses that are coming up, such as massive inventory that you've placed. Like this is where you go back to your inventory forecast. We're going to need orders here, here, and here. Then what the person's going to do is look at your base expenses, such as your advertising costs, and your gross margin that we talked about just before, and then going to extrapolate that out, assuming different variables based on the amount of revenue. You need to be sure that you've got cash to fuel that inventory growth. So make sure that you're looking at the net cash inflows and your cash balance in those forecasts. If you've got any outlier events like hiring new staff that's going to change those variable costs as a percentage, they need to be communicated to the person that's doing your cash flow forecast. This is again where I really like Triple L. Unlike most tools, they have a cash turnover widget, which is really great. It's basically your sales minus all those variable costs, which is going to bump up your cash. You can track that monthly or even daily with your team. I'll put a template for some of these forecasts in the description below as well. If you have any questions about it, you can head to our mentorship and I'm happy to answer them as well. Number 6 that you need to be focusing on in, I reckon, all of these stages is your creative and media buying feedback loop. Now, depending on what stage you're on with your amount of team is going to change this feedback loop. But you need to be constantly analyzing your creative efficiency and building tests and really understanding what is working best on that core channel that you're looking at. I recommend a weekly or monthly meeting where you get in a room and you go, okay, what has happened? What were the results? What should we test next? What's our hypothesis for that and why it should work? And then retrospectively look at it the next meeting. You can build reports around this. Again, Triple Wow has the creative cockpit, which is really, really good. The main thing that I do recommend, especially in the early stages, is don't do really, really granular tests. The larger the variation, the larger the increase or decrease in results. You can test things like different avatars that you're creating the content for, different content styles. Is it a UGC? Is it a professional unboxing video? Test those big things initially against each other using dynamic creatives, or even if you're really new to Facebook, use the split testing function in there if you don't understand dynamic creatives, and start getting really rigorous around understanding why customers are buying. You can use surveys, post-purchase surveys to customers, asking them why they bought, and then incorporate that into your media feedback loop. The 7th thing that you need to be doing as an e-commerce founder is setting up a CRO program. Now, again, it's going to depend on your skill sets and the team that you're going to hire, but you really need to be optimizing things like your conversion rate and your average order value, seeking more earnings per visitor on your site, profit per visitor. This is relatively simple now thanks to Shopify's new themes and something like Google Optimize. You can plug it in. Again, the more variation that you can create, the more drastic results that you can expect. Don't just focus on, changing button colors, really change the layouts of your pages. Also, the main thing that you should be doing within this function is testing things like advertorials and quiz funnels that are best practice right now. Go check out some of your favorite direct response brands and see what they're running traffic to. I recommend setting up a weekly or monthly cadence to review these results and why they worked. These insights about your customers are going to be incredibly important to understand what tests to run. One other thing that I really like to do here is also set up a Slack channel, a deployments channel. So every time someone deploys a test or gets test results, it gets recorded in Slack. What was the uplift? What happened and why? The next thing you should be focusing on is your complementary channels like email. We like to report on things like flows and campaigns separately as a percentage of revenue. This way, if your sales go up drastically, you can actually compare if your emails were responsible for that. It's showing optimization over time of that channel. It's great to align your team on that percentage so you can see how much they are improving. You can run split tests on your flows. In the early stages, you really want to be making sure that you're focusing on flows because you don't have that many resources. Too many people are sending lots of campaigns and just not grabbing that campaign, putting it in their welcome series and making sure that every single person that goes subscribes gets that email in the future. The 9th and second to last thing that I love to focus on as an early stage brand is keeping your reviews positive. There are so many reasons to keep your reviews positive. Firstly, it's such a strong indicator of how much customers are actually enjoying your product and are likely to purchase again. Secondly, there's a lot of underlying algorithms that are actually trying to judge how a consumer feels about your product after purchasing. Facebook surveys their customers. If you're selling crap things and customers are hating it, chances are you can get a platform ban or your ads will become less efficient. The third thing is by having a really strong peer-reviewed review platform that isn't biased, that you can manipulate, like Trustpilot or Product Review. Customers really trust that. That can be your foundation of your marketing. It helps differentiate you from competitors. Koala Mattresses did this incredibly well in Australia, where they were the top-rated mattress on Product Review. This should be reported by your customer service team monthly. One of the best ways to get a really good review score is stopping reviews at the source. You want your customer service team to have a strong voice within the departments, such as product, operations, and even marketing, to make sure that customers are happy and you're addressing those problems. You might be able to adjust your product in a certain way that gets lots more positive reviews. You need to be proactively asking your customers for reviews. This should be in your email marketing software after a purchase, asking customers, hey, can you please leave me a 5-star review if you love the product? If not, please reply to this email and give me feedback. That way you're achieving two things. You're handling disgruntled customers that are really upset and you can fix their problem one-on-one, and then you're just getting positive reviews on your platform. You can't actually technically ask for a 5-star review with an incentive, but you can actually ask for reviews in general with an incentive. So make sure you understand the legalities around that. If you want to incentivize reviews, you can say you can go into the draw to win something or an Amazon gift card if you really just need to bump those reviews up in the early stages. The 10th and final thing we're going to talk about is a very, very good lesson that I didn't learn early enough, which is stay lean. The beauty of e-commerce businesses is the fixed cost can be super low, but if you don't watch your expenses like a hawk, it can cause lots of issues. You want to constantly be looking at payment fees and invoices, going into your accounting software and checking every single charge in the early stages. Don't overhire. A good rule of thumb is one person every $1 million of revenue that you are doing. Make sure you're monitoring things like FX. If you're settling in your Shopify dashboard so your payouts are coming in AUD, you don't want to then go spend on USD using these platforms without converting the currency first. You can use tools like Airwallex, or you go to your bank and get proper FX rates to reduce that expense line. Make sure you're constantly just negotiating people down based on your sales. Those variable costs like payment fees, although it might be a small percentage, as your revenue grows based on your revenue forecast, they will become solid amounts of money that you could be paying yourself or paying new people and growing faster. I hope you liked today's video. It's a little bit different. It might be a little bit dry or might feel like a pipe dream to other people, but the truth is these lessons are going to be incredibly important for you to grow your business. If you like this kind of insight or I just have any questions, happy to answer them in our mentorship. I jump on and answer questions, one-on-one. Alternatively, just leave a comment in the description and I'll try to help as much as I can. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.